Chelsea, Barcelona Champions League final Sunday in Sweden. Both clubs going for their first ever Champions League title on the women's side. Who better to join us and break it down than Kathleen McNamee, a rising star here at ESPN. You can check out her work all over ESPN.com, really taking our women's soccer coverage to another level. Kathleen, let's dive right in on this game. Both of these teams won their respective leagues. They're both loaded with talent, but for somebody maybe who hasn't watched a ton of Chelsea or a ton of Barcelona yet, who is the favorite for you on Sunday?
It's interesting because a lot of people are tipping Barcelona to be the favourites, but I think they've had an awful easy season, and they haven't won or they haven't lost a single game all season. Whereas Chelsea have went right to the wire with their season. I think they've faced more competitive teams, so my betting would be Chelsea. But also, I think it's going to be a great game. I mean, we've seen these two teams perform so well throughout the Champions League. Barcelona came up against City, PSG. Chelsea scraped through some of their games in the end, and it's just going to be so much fun to watch.
Kathleen, of course, based in London. We should probably say that as she mentions that Chelsea is her pick to win. I'm sure that didn't factor in at all. Let's talk Barcelona, though, real quick. You mentioned they dominated their league. 26 wins, 26 games. They scored, is this right, 128 goals for in the season. They conceded just 5. This team is really rolling.
Oh, they're on fire. I don't think they even know what it means to lose this season. And one of the few times they have actually came up against Manchester City, which is what I think is really interesting and gives Chelsea a chance in this. But it's with players like we've talked about them before when we did the FC 50 list. You've Caroline Graham-Hansen, who's done incredible things with Norway. Jenny Hermoso, who's club's top scorer, her own country's top scorer. And then, of course, Oshwala, who is just an amazing person. Whenever she gets into the box, you just know she's going to create some magic. I think what I love about watching this Barcelona team is they're so creative. You just know when certain players get on the ball, they're going to find the space for the others.
What about Chelsea? Now, usually when we talk Chelsea on this show, we're always talking about Sam Kerr. Julie Foudy loves Sam Kerr. But I want to give you a minute here to talk about Fran Kirby, because if people watch this game on Sunday, the player they don't know that's going to jump out of them, at least on this side of the pond, Kathleen, is definitely, for me, going to be Fran Kirby.
Fran Kirby has just had an incredible year. She had a difficult time last year. You know my feelings about her. This Chelsea team wouldn't be where they are without her. Sam Kerr wouldn't be where she is without her. Even she was talking after the game in the WSL at the weekend, saying that she knew that Vivian Miedema was coming up close to Sam Kerr for that golden boot. And she was like, I'm going to deliver balls to her so she can hit them in the net all night long. And that's the sort of player Fran Kirby is. She assists everyone on the team, but she likes to get a goal herself as well. I mean, in the WSL, she has 16 goals and 11 assists to her name. She's just been absolutely incredible.
I know she was in your ESPN FC top 50 ranking. I'm going to hold my hand up here very sheepishly. I left her out of my top 50. Please don't jump through the screen and attack me. Please don't jump through the screen and attack me. Next year, I promise, I'll get it right. One more note on Chelsea here. Emma Hayes, the manager, going to be the first woman to manage in a Champions League final in 12 years. Kathleen, is that problematic for the women's game?
It absolutely is, and it's not just the Champions League that we see this problem in. You know, people like Emma Hayes, she is an absolute icon of the game, and she's someone that I think you could very easily see in the Premier League soon enough. But this happens in the NWSL, it happens in the WSL. We've seen even this week, very talented manager in Casey Stoney leaving, and it's just so unfortunate to see these managers not getting the opportunities that their male counterparts are. Interestingly, you tend to get a lot more women coaches in academies rather than first teams. So I think there's some sort of drain there that needs to be addressed. So you do have people like Emma Hayes at these finals.
I want to ask you about the Americans here and maybe the role that they don't have in the Champions League. But when I look at these two clubs, kind of big picture first, how significant is it that it's Barcelona and Chelsea, mega clubs who are now investing here, Kathleen, heavily in the women's game, and they're about to see the reward?
Yeah, this didn't happen overnight for either of these clubs. Chelsea especially have been working on this for the last 9 years to get to this point. I think it's so good to see teams that are investing not just in the team, but also in their academies. They're bringing them through. We see with Barcelona, like La Masia, that's really important to them, that they are growing their own players as well as bringing in these super talents. I think a lot of people thought you would have seen someone like Manchester City in at this stage because they have brought in those big US women's national team stars. but maybe the stars that they brought in didn't quite click in the way that these teams have, because these teams have been working and building for a lot longer. And I think it's really interesting that these are the ones we're seeing that are top of their respective domestic leagues as well, are now fighting it out in Europe. And plus, it's not Lyon, which is great. I mean, it's been so fun watching a Champions League that doesn't involve Lyon.
That's right. 5 straight Champions League titles for Lyon before this one. Finally, we will have a new winner on Sunday. We look forward to that. We look forward, Kathleen, to having you here on Futbol Americas a little bit more, and we look forward to your coverage of the Champions League final. Chelsea, Barcelona, Sunday in Sweden.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.